The 1990s were an unforgettable decade in American golf, especially on the sun-drenched West Coast, where celebrity antics, dramatic putts, and rising stars collided to shape a uniquely entertaining golf era. It was a time when the lines between serious competition and playful showmanship blurred, and the result was a vibrant, ever-evolving showcase of skill, personality, and spectacle. From Lake Tahoe's shimmering, pine-framed backdrop to Pebble Beach's fog-kissed fairways overlooking the Pacific, golf wasn't just a sport. It was a show, a cultural phenomenon, and, at times, a circus of sorts. The West Coast became a magnet for pros and personalities alike, pulling in crowds who came not only for the golf, but for the unpredictable drama that surrounded it. Whether it was NFL quarterbacks trading helmets for 9-irons or hockey enforcers proving their finesse with a wedge, golf in the 90s was never just about pars and birdies. It was about moments, memories, and making headlines. 1990 marked the official beginning of a brand new kind of golf tournament on the western edge of the U.S., not defined by major championships or PGA prestige, but by its sheer audacity to blend sport with stardom. While the PGA Tour's spotlight was on Hale Irwin, who claimed victory at Medina with his steely consistency, something very different was unfolding in State Line, Nevada. At the base of the Sierra Nevada, where the lake mirrors the mountains and the air is thin and electric, the inaugural Celebrity Golf Championship teed off at Edgewood Tahoe Resort. This wasn't your typical golf tournament. It was a mix of NFL legends, baseball greats, Hollywood faces, and even a few pro bowlers, all stepping up to take a swing. Super Bowl MVP Mark Rypien came from behind on Sunday to steal the win with a score of 221, a number that would normally be unremarkable in pro circles, but is still the highest ever to win at Edgewood, under stroke play. His victory wasn't about surgical precision. It was about holding it together just long enough. That year, the tournament established itself not only as a summer spectacle, but also as a proving ground for athletes who wanted to show they had game outside their usual stadiums and arenas. It was lighthearted, yes, but competitive in a way that kept fans guessing. In 1991, the tournament added a new character to its growing cast, Rick Rhoden. The former MLB pitcher stepped up and, with a smooth swing that suggested years of secret fairway practice, tied NBA bruiser Bill Laimbeer after regulation play. What followed was pure Edgewood lore. On the first playoff hole, Laimbeer sent not one, not two, but 5 balls into the water guarding the 18th green. Spectators gasped. Broadcasters chuckled, and just like that, Lake Laimbeer was born. Rhoden went on to win, marking the beginning of what would become a dominant run at the tournament for the ex-pitcher. It was clear he wasn't just showing up for the cameras, he was out to win. Meanwhile, in a quieter but still significant moment for the West Coast amateur scene, David Berganio Jr. clinched the U.S. Amateur Public Links title at Forest Highlands in Arizona. That victory helped solidify his rising profile and reinforce the strength of the amateur game on the western half of the country, especially in tournaments that didn't always get the national spotlight. By 1992, the Celebrity Championship had fully found its rhythm, and it was time for hockey to make its move. The U.S. Open returned to the coast, with Tom Kite prevailing over tough conditions at Pebble Beach, claiming his long-awaited major title. It was a hard-fought win, the kind only Pebble can deliver, where the ocean wind and rugged terrain conspire against even the best ball strikers. Back at Edgewood, Dan Quinn, a former NHL center with a deceptively elegant swing, went toe-to-toe with a tough field and emerged as the first hockey player to hoist the trophy. Canada, thanks to Quinn's win, now had more victories at the tournament than the U.S., a fact that didn't go unnoticed by patriotic fans and competitors alike. Quinn's victory proved that agility and finesse, honed on the ice, could carry over to the course. That same year, Todd Fisher claimed victory at the Amateur Public Links at Kapalua, another coastal gem, this one nestled on the volcanic cliffs of Maui. The win further reinforced the growing reputation of West Coast and Pacific amateur golf as a pipeline of elite players poised for bigger stages. Between the pros, the celebrities, and the amateurs, 1992 showcased the sheer range of golf talent flourishing on the Western Front. 1993 was the year Rick Rhoden truly asserted himself as the dominant force at Edgewood Tahoe. Showing up with calm confidence and sharp form, he didn't just win, he lit up the course. His final total of 207 strokes across 3 rounds wasn't just good enough for victory, it shattered the existing record for the lowest tournament score in the event's brief history. Rhoden, already a 2-time champion by this point, was making it clear that Edgewood was his turf. Meanwhile, on the professional circuit, Lee Janzen was writing his own success story at Baltusrol, capturing the U.S. Open with an impressive performance that earned him national attention. At the same time, out in the Pacific Northwest, Todd Dempsey was putting the spotlight on West Coast amateurs. His victory at Shaughnessy Golf and Country Club in Vancouver signaled the rise of a new wave of competitive golfers from the region. Together, these victories reflected a broader shift. West Coast golf was no longer content to play second fiddle. Its players, both pro and amateur, were starting to take center stage. In 1994, Edgewood delivered one of its most dramatic finishes yet. The tournament came down to a tense three-man sudden death playoff, ultimately won by former NFL safety Dick Anderson. Known more for hitting receivers than fairways, Anderson showed poise under pressure and became the first defensive football player to win the Celebrity Championship. While others chased the spotlight with aggressive play, Anderson let his steady game do the talking. No risky hero shots, no unnecessary flair, just controlled, confident golf that paid off when it mattered most. It was a win that proved sometimes grit and experience count more than flash. That same year, in the amateur ranks, Mark Johnson captured top honors at Bear Creek Golf Club in Murrieta, California. His win underscored a trend that was becoming harder to ignore. Southern California's golf scene was evolving into a reliable pipeline for national-level talent. Beneath the surface of star-studded pro events, players like Johnson were quietly building resumes that pointed to future success. In 1995, Rick Rhoden returned to Edgewood and once again reminded the field why he was considered the man to beat. With his calm demeanor and sharp iron play, Rhoden methodically worked his way around the course, ultimately collecting his third title in the tournament's 6-year history. There were no theatrics, no buzzer beaters, just a steady, clinical dismantling of the competition. With every win, he was building not just a personal legacy, but helping shape the tournament itself into a marquee event in celebrity sports. Further north, in Washington State, Burke Nelson added his name to the growing list of elite West Coast amateurs by winning the Public Links title at Canterwood Golf and Country Club in Gig Harbor. The Pacific Northwest, often overshadowed by California's golf pedigree, was now staking its claim as a breeding ground for serious talent. Nelson's win was more than just a personal milestone. It was another sign that the region's competitive edge was sharpening. Then came 1996, and with it, a shakeup at Tahoe. Billy Joe Tolliver, a quarterback known for throwing deep balls and taking chances, brought that same mentality to Edgewood, and it paid off. With a freewheeling approach and unshakable confidence, Tolliver surged ahead to win the tournament by 4 strokes. His aggressive style made for thrilling golf and marked a turning point in the event's history. This was no longer just a playground for ex-athletes. It was becoming a true competition. Tolliver's win stood out not just for the margin of victory, but for the way he claimed it, unafraid to go big when others played it safe. At the same time, over on California's Monterey Peninsula, Scott Johnson claimed the APL title at Poppy Hills Golf Club in Pebble Beach. Surrounded by coastal fog and the haunting silence of redwoods, Johnson navigated one of the trickiest layouts in the country with focus and precision. His win at such a storied course only reinforced the narrative. Whether it was Pebble Beach or Lake Tahoe, West Coast golf was fast becoming the proving ground for rising stars and unforgettable stories. 1997 was a pivotal year for celebrity golf on the West Coast, and no one owned the moment more than Rick Rhoden. With a calm demeanor and a swing that seemed to shrug off pressure, Rhoden clinched his 4th title at Edgewood Tahoe, continuing a run of dominance that few could match in the event's early history. His ability to read the greens and string together consistently low rounds made it clear he wasn't just a retired pitcher out for a good time. He was a legitimate threat every single year. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, the always composed Ernie Els emerged victorious at the U.S. Open, adding another major to his resume. But while Els was making headlines in the East, the big story on the West Coast belonged to a young Jason Gore. Playing at the picturesque Makina Resort in Maui, Gore captured the imagination of the golf world with a win that would mark the beginning of his rise. He wasn't yet a household name, but for those watching closely, the Maui win was a sign of big things to come. In 1998, the Tahoe tournament gained a new kind of champion. Mario Laimbeer, known more for slicing through NHL defenses than for slicing drives down fairways, added his name to the Edgewood winners list. Laimbeer's win was quiet and unflashy, but full of class, the kind of understated triumph that fans and fellow players admired. He edged out seasoned competitors like Billy Joe Tolliver and Dick Anderson, proving that raw talent and focus could overcome even the most experienced celebrity golfers. That same summer, the U.S. Open returned to the hallowed grounds of the Olympic Club in San Francisco. There, Lee Janzen edged Payne Stewart in a tightly contested battle, securing a major win on one of the West Coast's most historic and challenging layouts. Olympics' narrow fairways and signature fog made for a tough test, and Janzen's ability to keep calm under pressure showed the kind of grit the course demands. Between Lemieux's quiet conquest in Tahoe and Janzen's resilience in San Francisco, it was a year that showcased both the unpredictability and the prestige of golf on the West Coast. Then came 1999, a year that closed the decade with both dominance and drama. At the American Century Championship, Rick Rhoden delivered a masterclass performance in conditions that bordered on chaotic. Battling gusts of wind that reached 50 miles per hour, Rhoden didn't just win, he obliterated the field. His 9-stroke margin of victory remains a tournament record, and it cemented his status as the undisputed king of Edgewood. Watching Rhoden handle gale force winds while still sinking birdie putts made it clear he had elevated the art of celebrity golf into something much more serious. Across the country, Payne Stewart found redemption and sealed his legacy with a dramatic U.S. Open victory at Pinehurst, one of the most emotional wins in major championship history. Back on the West Coast, rising amateur Ryan Lavoie put his stamp on the game by winning the Amateur Public Links title at Seattle Golf Club. That victory was symbolic, a passing of the torch from seasoned champions to the next generation of West Coast talent, showing that the region's depth wasn't limited to glitz and celebrity, but was grounded in real competitive substance. By the end of the 1990s, the landscape of golf on the West Coast had transformed in more ways than one. The American Century Championship at Lake Tahoe had evolved from a lighthearted sideshow into a legitimate summer spectacle. Equal parts golf tournament, entertainment event, and reunion of sports royalty. It became a place where quarterbacks, catchers, point guards, and pop stars could all chase birdies while the crowd cheered, laughed, and occasionally dressed up in Elvis costumes. Players like Rhoden and Quinn weren't just repeat winners. They were local legends whose swings defined the style and rhythm of the Tahoe event. And then there were the unpredictable moments, unexpected aces, celebrity showdowns, and the infamous Lake Laimbeer that gave the tournament its personality. Beyond Tahoe, the broader West Coast scene saw its fair share of prestige. U.S. Opens at Pebble Beach and the Olympic Club reaffirmed the coast's status as a premier golf destination. Amateur standouts emerged from Washington to California to Hawaii, proving that the Pacific states were developing top-tier talent capable of competing on any stage. Looking back, the 90s weren't just a period of growth. They were a golden hour for West Coast golf, where tradition met spectacle, and the fairways were filled with more than just great shots. They were full of great stories.
Come along, let's sing, where the joy will bring. Tune into the beat, feel the magic, it's true. Channel 1 9 on X, we're here just for you.